Please remain standing as we observe a minute's silence to remember our fallen heroes. I'd like to invite to light the first wick of the lamp to inaugurate the conference our chief guest, the Minister of Economic Development, Honorable Basil Rajapaksa, joined by Honorable Jagat Pushpakumara, Minister of Coconut Development and Janatha Estate Development, the Deputy Minister of Fisheries and Aquatic Resource Development, Honorable Susantha Punchinilame, our keynote speaker, Dr. P.B. Jayasundara, Secretary, Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. W. Sakalasurya, Chairman of CIC Holdings PLC, Mr. B.R.L. Fernando, Managing Director and CEO of CIC Holdings, Mr. Samanth Ranatunga, and Conference Chairperson and Moderator, Dr. Terhan M. Durga.
So do the people around you. So does everyone else in the world today. 6.7 billion people. But not everyone gets the food they need. A growing wave of food insecurity has left 1 in 6 people hungry. That's more than 1 billion hungry people. And the pressure is rising because of higher food prices and a growing population. The UN forecasts a global population of 9 billion by 2050. How many of those people won't get enough to eat then? 1 in 6? What if the problem of hunger got better? What if by 2050 only 1 in 10 people went hungry? Or 1 in 20? Or 1 in 100? Is that possible?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Conference on National Food and Nutrition Security 2012. What you just saw was very thematic of this conference, which is towards a nutritious and healthy nation. Many countries worldwide grapple with the issue of food security in the backdrop of galloping food prices, diverse weather patterns, and shrinking natural resources. CIC Agribusiness and the Ministry of Agriculture join hands to find a way forward to secure food nutrition and security in Sri Lanka. A high-profile panel of experts will discuss, debate, and deliberate with over 300 participants who you see today, and that means the means and ways of overcoming these challenges. To make the welcome address, I would now like to invite the Chairman of CIC Holdings PLC, Mr. B.R.L. Fernando.
Our chief guest this morning, Honorable Basil Rajapaksa, Minister of Economic Development, Honorable Jagat Pushpakumara, Minister of Coconut Development and Janatha Estate Development, Honorable Ministers, Deputy Ministers, Dr. P.B. Jayasundara, who will be delivering the keynote address this morning, secretaries to the ministries, representatives from the Presidential Secretariat looking at food security, members of academia, both from the university and the National Science Establishment, our resource personnel, Dr. Dorega, President of LC Group of Companies USA, and Dr. Ms. Toma, Managing Director of Hakan Agro of Dubai. Distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the organizers, it is my privilege and pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to this important conference targeting methodologies to make Sri Lanka food secure. At the outset, let me extend a very special warm welcome to the Honorable Minister of Economic Development, Honorable Basil Rajapaksa, for finding time to make himself available for this occasion. Dr. P.B. Jayasundara, who agreed to deliver the keynote address in spite of his busy schedule tied up with the budget preparation, which is due next month. Our thanks also to the Honorable Jagat Pushpakumara and other ministers and deputy ministers for prioritizing this event. Our thanks also to the resource persons, Dr. Dorega and Mr. Toma, for their presence here and in Sri Lanka. The 16th of October has been declared the World Food Day in remembrance of the formation of the Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, by the United Nations. Objectives of the FAO are very clear in that it wants to encourage food production, catapult economic and technical coordination among developing nations, advocate the journey of technologies to the developing world, augment public awareness of the issue of hunger, revitalize international national solidarity in the combat against hunger, malnutrition, and poverty, and attract attention to accomplishments in food and agricultural development. I think the video presentation that went on before was highlighting most of these events and highlighting also the need for technology. Looking at the objectives of the FAO, it is appropriate that the private sector and the Ministry of Agriculture have joined hands in order to organize this conference. Both the Ministry and CIC have worked extremely hard to make this event a success and also to provide new energy to the private sector, public sector partnership which we have forged with the Ministry. I have been given very little time to welcome our distinguished invitees and to address this august gathering, so I will highlight a few key areas that we collectively need to address to see how we get to food security for Sri Lanka.
I'd like to now invite Mr. Varuna P. Madhavanarachchi, Executive Director, CEO of CIC Agri-Technology, CIC Agribusiness, to deliver a special message.
Good morning, Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen. Now I have the honor of reading a special message from His Excellency the President of Sri Lanka on the occasion of this nationally important event. I quote, "I am pleased to send this message to the National Food and Security Conference of Sri Lanka 2012. The theme of this conference, Towards a Nutritious and Healthy Nation, is most timely when the country is moving forward on a development program that seeks to ensure both food security and good health among the people. The gathering at this conference, comprising policymakers, academia, agribusiness firms, the media, will study the challenges and opportunities for Sri Lanka in relation to the current food and nutrition security crisis in the world, its implication for Sri Lanka, and the strategic action required to make best use of the global and local opportunities in this important sector. I commend CIC Agribusinesses and the Ministry of Agriculture for their initiative in organizing this important event, and I wish it every success. Mahinda Rajapaksa," unquote. Thank you.
It is time now for our keynote address. It's my pleasure to invite our keynote speaker, the Secretary, Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Dr. P.B. Jayasundara.
Honorable Mr. Basil Rajapaksa, distinguished invitees, I'm indeed pleased this morning to participate in this important event and also to share some of my thoughts in my keynote speech. I sincerely extend my thanks and appreciation for inviting me for this event, particularly by Mr. B.R.L. Fernando, who is one of the best agriculturalists I have seen in this country, and also for organizing this important conference on a theme relevant to our government, our country, and also to our people. Of course, the reason I accepted this particular invitation is, this is exactly what government is driving at. And in fact, when I listen to BRL's comment in his opening remarks, many matters that he referred to are very much in the minds of His Excellency the President, and in every single budget speech he has delivered to Parliament since he became the Minister of Finance have truly reflected these ideas and have put the country on a truly remarkable agricultural drive. So from that perspective, country is first time after several years of open economic policies and also several years of emphasis on industrialization for economic development, has recognized agriculture is the primary driver in agricultural development. In this background, I also thought the participation of the Honorable Minister Basil Rajapaksa here is important for several reasons. Last week, in this same auditorium, Honorable Minister Rajapaksa, as Minister of Economic Development, joined the Sri Lanka Administrative Service annual session with the Minister of Public Administration, and I felt that is a reflection of bringing the development and administration together and bringing those synergies for new era. And this week, our minister as a chief guest is sharing with the agricultural sector ministers, and in fact agriculture to our president and also to the government is a triple A economy, because agriculture is not just the activities covered under Ministry of Agriculture. It covers all activities under agriculture, all activities covered under livestock, and all activities covered under fisheries. So therefore, we call in our planning exercise in the Ministry of Finance and Planning, this is a triple A economy. For us, these three sectors, that is agriculture, aquaculture and fisheries resources, and animal production, are three important aspects in food production and nutrition. So therefore, when Honorable Minister Basil Rajapaksa accepted this invitation as a chief guest, he is actually combining the development with triple A economy. So that has an important message. Message is we need development and administration and also development with key priority sectors, and agriculture, aquaculture and the livestock are very much in the hearts of our government policy. The topic here is, in fact, food security, food and nutritious security to the nation. And in fact, BRL referred to the water aspect as well, and we like to call food, nutrition and water as key security aspects in the national economy. The government has done enormous amount of work, particularly since the new government under Mahinda Chintana Vision for the Future recognize agriculture has a pivotal role. Although Sri Lanka's agriculture, that means entire primary sector, triple A economy which I referred to in primary form, account for 12% of GDP. That is the activity that keep the entire economic process in this country. So therefore, though people think agriculture is not so important in GDP, in absolute terms, this is vital. And that is why this government, despite many advisors on industrialization and services recognize agriculture is a primary vehicle in development. Agriculture is important for several reasons in this decade. 30 years ago, world was much poor. China was a poor country, less than $300 per capita income economy. 1/4 of the population were technically not having adequate food. India is equally a poor country 20-30 years ago, and its population was equally poor. Indonesia, Africa, and many other countries remain poor. We too were a poor country. Our per capita income until 1977 was below $300. Probably our per capita income was higher than China, India, and several other countries at that time. Today the world is different. China is no longer a poor country, though they have still poverty, and still people live below a certain level of income. India is no longer a poor country. Similarly, Sri Lanka is no longer a poor country because we all have come a long way in our development. Several countries like India, China, Brazil are today as strong as, or probably even more influential than the group of 8, the so-called G8. Today, in fact, sit with the 5 BRICS nations in world economic planning and policy making. What it means is the people can afford much larger quantity of food than before. While population itself has gone up globally, population also demanding food. They are, however, demanding not just food, they are demanding quality food. And also they are demanding affordable food. So in that context, food and nutrition matters only if the agricultural sector could provide food in adequate quantities and also in affordable prices. And that's the remarkable challenge the world today is facing for 2 reasons. One is the rich people, the affordable people need food. But at the same time, world is still not free from poverty. There is still a segment of population cannot have food, even they can't afford, and they can't even